I am Slick Nick. I am the living legend. And I love it when people watch my videos and leave comments that help carry this rebranded channel in the direction that I want it to go, where I get to talk about what I actually want to talk about. So check this out. I made a video called My Metallica Black Album 2010 Jeep Wrangler JK Sport. And it was me talking about putting the snake sticker on the back in reference of the Black Album by Metallica. Jordan Kilby asked me this question, quote, "Hey Nick, great motor. I recently bought an old Land Rover Defender 300 TDI in Aries Blue. I love it and can see that you love your new Jeep too. Would you ever buy a normal car now or always go for 4x4? End quote. I love that question. And that's awesome about the Land Rover. I mean, Land Rovers are so awesome. I have a friend, Ben Wilder. You can Google him. He's a blogger too, just like I'm also a blogger. He and I, he was like my first friend when I moved here to Nashville. And he had a Land Rover and we got to go in the mud in it. And I remember that, and it's so cool. And actually, I'll tell you something else interesting. Back in high school, there was a guy who had a black Land Rover, and he had a Metallica sticker on the back. And that's actually what gave me the idea to do that on the black Jeep, but just to have the snake instead of the actual logo for Metallica. So yes, definitely Land Rovers are awesome. It's amazing enough that I was able to afford this. So Land Rover would be that much more out of my price range, but yeah, that's so cool. Land Rovers, I have much respect for the Land Rover. I want to be very clear about that. But going to the question, would I ever buy a normal car now, or would I always go 4x4? All right, so here's what I'm gonna say. In this moment, with this being the first week I actually have this in my own garage, because as you know, if you've been following this, it's been over a month-long process from the time that my mom found this on Facebook to the time that she and my dad drove 3 hours in one direction on a Monday night to go get it, 3 hours back, and then I had to wait for the title, and then we had to wait for the back seats to come in. It's been over a month of my life to get this. So through all that process, as I was going through all that, it only confirms how grateful I am to have this 4x4 Jeep. So in this frame of mind that I'm in, I can't imagine going back, is what I'm already gonna say, because I'm filming this on Wednesday. This is only the third day that I really had this in my garage and been driving it to work and back. And already, I love it too much. And, you know, I came home, I remember yesterday, told my wife, I was like, you know, it really is awesome to drive that Jeep. And she's like, yeah, I bet. And it's funny because like I sense from people like that see me as I'm driving through Nashville, like there's this sense of, wow. Like I can just sense it from people. Like this is something to aspire to be able to drive a Jeep Wrangler. But then when people find out that it's 4x4 and that it's a manual 6-speed, then people were very impressed, because honestly, not a lot of people these days can still drive a manual transmission. But on top of that, it's 4x4, four-wheel drive, and it's a Jeep. I mean, you have all these things all in one. And, you know, already there's been times where I needed to back out of a tight space, or I could just drive off the road to do it, and I did it. It was no problem. And this is in good weather. Imagine when there's, you know, extreme weather, there's ice, or there's a lot of blizzardy type weather here in Nashville as far as snow and ice. And even though my job, they'd totally be like, yeah, just work from home. But I'd be like, but I don't have to. So, and then just the thought of, as I become familiar with what fields and roads I can go on and take in the mud, because I'm not afraid to do that. I want to do that. And I want there to be mud stains on this, you know. So you can tell from the way I'm talking already in this video, why would I ever want to go back or be okay with going back to well, any of the following. A vehicle that's not four-wheel drive, one that's not a manual transmission, and one that's not a Jeep Wrangler, most of all. So like, for example though, just imagine, so the other side of the garage that I typically will not be filming in is my wife's Elantra. She's got a, well, that didn't help, did it? She's got a Hyundai Elantra, you know, nice sporty car, you know, absolutely, it's great. It's our commuter car because where she goes, she's like an hour drive from our house to go to work. So she's really commuting big time, like an hour. Whereas for me, it's only like maybe 45 minutes, 40, 35. So with that being said, I've still got access to, you know, a car that's not all of these things, but still a respectful little, you know, girl car. It is a Hyundai Elantra. That's great for her. And I'm so happy for her that she gets that. But man, and I even told her, my wife, the day I first got it, I was like, why would I ever want to go back to anything else? Like, you know, I drove my Honda Element for 13 years and okay, so I just turned 38. So I'd be 51 if I drove this for 13 years. Okay, so maybe by then it's got lots of miles on it. If I needed to get another one, you know, then why wouldn't I? Like for me, driving this makes commuting to work, it makes so much more fun. Like just driving, like here's what it takes me back to. To when you first turn 16, you're finally able to legally drive. And you just want to drive anywhere. Like, oh, we're short on some, whatever kind of groceries. You overhear your mom say, I'll go out and I'll get it. You know, you look for reasons to drive. Like when you first start being able to legally drive, and I'm totally back in that mindset of driving is no chore for me. Just being able to drive this Jeep is fun. And man, today, let me get this CD actually. So for this to be my Black Album Jeep, what's funny is I have yet to play the Black Album. Instead, I went with this one from 1989, and Justice for All. And a very libertarian message in this, by the way. But so anyway, I was driving to work today, windows down, playing this CD, and I put most of the speakers in the back. I turned up the bass pretty high. And it was just the experience of, wow, every part about this, the fact that I'm higher up than everybody, the fact that the scene looks awesome, the fact that I'm playing some awesome rugged tunes here. Man, it was so cool to be able to do that. It really brings the fun back in driving. So, and I on my blog, I'm gonna have an upcoming blog post where I finally announce to everybody, because I don't like post on Facebook. I'll write stuff in my blog and then post that on Facebook, but even then I'm not really announcing on Facebook because people are finding my blog posts. Do that when I give updates about my life. To get the real updates in my life, you have to watch my YouTube channel. But I have yet to post it on there. But anyway, when I do, I'm going to have the blog post, and it's going to talk about how, this is my midlife crisis. I mean, to really think about it, I'm 38 now. That's the second half of life. You know, you multiply 38 times 2, that's what, 74. And, you know, most Americans live 74, 78 is kind of like that average range. And I am beginning the second half of my life now. This is my midlife. I don't know that it's a crisis though. I feel really good about this. I feel like, okay, I can appreciate all I have. I can appreciate that this thing's paid off and I get to enjoy it from that very moment. It's already paid off by the time I get it. And, you know, I'm at a good place in my job. Everything's good in my life. I'm very grateful for everything. But this just really helps take me out of that, any kind of routine. This takes me out of that. And yeah, what's funny is it actually makes life more challenging and complicated than it has to be. I don't have to drive a vehicle that's, 4x4, four-wheel drive, manual. I could drive something a lot more practical. In fact, had this not worked out, we were actually looking at I guess I was trying to find a Subaru Outback actually. Like the kind of rugged station wagon thing. I mean, hey, I don't have a problem with that. And I was also looking at the Hyundai Veloster. And I was open-minded to the manual transmission on that because a lot of them are. But it worked out. The dream vehicle I want, in this moment, I just can't imagine ever wanting to go back at this point. So to answer your question, I can't imagine going back to a car that's not four-wheel drive, that's not a manual, that's not a Jeep Wrangler. There you go. It took me 10 minutes to answer that question. That's how passionate I feel about it. Comments? Right here.